Hello everyone, welcome to Diagnose It. So this is our next case. So here we have a 23-year-old woman who presented after a road traffic accident with a significant trauma on the chest wall, with a systolic blood pressure of 60 to 80 mmHg and a pulse rate of 120 beats per minute, with a respiratory rate of 35 per minute. When we auscultated for the breath sounds were normally heard on both sides of the chest wall. And when we auscultated for the heart sound were not that clearly appreciable. So, from the history, we can clearly appreciate that the patient is having hypotension with tachycardia, with tachypnea, and also heart sounds are not clearly appreciable. And there is also a distended neck vein, as you can see here. By all the findings that we have, let's diagnose this case. You all must have diagnosed it till now. It is a case of cardiac tamponade. Now let's discuss about what is a cardiac tamponade. It is basically the buildup of fluid around the heart that is hampering the normal functioning ability of the heart to accept and to pump out the blood. Normally, in every person, there is some amount of fluid present in the pericardial cavity. But in some cases, like in acute setting or some chronic cases, the fluid that is in the cardiac cavity, in the pericardial cavity, increases in the amount, and such increase will lead to hamper in the normal activity of the heart. In an acute setting, a small amount of fluid can hamper the cardiac activity, but in chronic cases, a large amount of fluid, even with a large amount of fluid, the cardiac activity is maintained. So basically, the speed of buildup of fluid is more important than the amount of fluid in development of cardiac tamponade. So why in acute setting in this patient she developed cardiac tamponade? It is because it may be because of the rupture of ventricles that leads to hemorrhage inside the pericardial cavity, or it may be due to the rupture of any vessel that leads to the blood inside the pericardial cavity that leads to increase in the pressure and then development of cardiac tamponade. But in chronic cases, there are various etiologies of development of cardiac tamponade. These are similar to the development of edema, and the fluid that builds up in the pericardial cavity can be both an exudate and a transudate, depending on the amount of protein, the specific gravity of the fluid, and all other parameters. Now let's discuss the cardiac functioning after the development of cardiac tamponade. So what happens is, suppose this is the ventricle, this is the right ventricle, and this is the left ventricle, and this is the pericardial cavity around it, and this is the fluid that has built up. Now this fluid exerts pressure on the ventricles, and this pressure is more marked on the right side because the ventricular wall on the right side is thinner as compared to that of on the left side. So due to the pressure on the right ventricle, now the right ventricle is not able to completely fill itself with the blood. This leads to decrease in the venous return of the heart, in turns leads to decrease in the pulmonary blood flow, and then to decrease in the blood in the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, and then leads to decrease in the cardiac output. So cardiac output of the patient decreases. And to counter this, what our body do is increase the heart rate, because our body wants to maintain the blood pressure. So heart rate of the patient increases. Next is when we try to auscultate the sounds due to the layer of fluid, due to a large amount of fluid present in the pericardial cavity, heart sound are not properly conducted to the chest wall. So we get muffled heart sound, we get decreased heart sounds. Like the heart sounds are not that good appreciated. And the next thing is, due to decrease in the right ventricular filling capacity, the pressure in the in the right atrium increases. This leads to the distended neck veins and increase in the JVP, jugular venous pressure. So this forms the classical Beck's triad. that is classically seen in the patient of cardiac tamponade. Now, one more thing that we can notice clinically is the presence of pulsus paradoxus. So, what is a pulsus paradoxus? So, normally what happens, like suppose this is, assume this is right ventricle, this is left ventricle, and this is the pericardial cavity. But there is a fluid within the physiological limit present in the pericardial cavity. So when the person inspires, due to the negative pressure inside the chest cavity, the venous return to the heart increases. So the right ventricle is filled more. This leads to the increase in pressure inside the right ventricle, and the pressure, due to the pressure, the wall gets stretched, and the right ventricular wall as well as the interventricular septum is shifted towards the left side. This leads to the compression of the left ventricle. So left ventricular size decreases. This leads to decrease in the cardiac output, in turns leads to decrease in the blood pressure. But this decrease in the blood pressure is not more than 10 mmHg. This is in the normal cases. But what happens in a patient of cardiac tamponade? Suppose this is right ventricle, this is left ventricle, and now this pericardial cavity has a lot of fluid inside it. This leads to the external pressure on the right ventricular wall. Now when in the inspiration, the venous return to the heart increases, the volume inside the right ventricle increases. This leads to the shifting of the interventricular septum towards the left side more than the normal physiology. This leads to more decrease in the size of left ventricular cavity, in turn leads to more decrease in the cardiac output, then decrease in BP, which is more than 10 mmHg. This is called pulsus paradoxus. It is also known as pulsus normalis aggregans, because this is the aggravated version of the normal phenomena that is happening. Now let's discuss how we diagnose this case Now let's discuss what we can do apart from our clinical diagnosis for making the diagnosis of this case. So we can do an ECG. Firstly, we can do a chest X-ray. Like if we have a basal chest X-ray, that we can know the size of the heart of the patient. And if we check the size of the heart of the patient after the development of cardiac tamponade, we can clearly see an increase in the size of cardiac shadow. The other thing that we can do in the setting of a trauma patient is we can do the FAST that we know, the ultrasound that we do, focus assessment sonography for trauma, that can show the presence of fluid in the pericardial cavity. The other thing that we can do is we can do the echocardiography that shows the presence of fluid in the pericardial cavity, as well as it also shows the malfunctioning of the heart, the compromised function of the heart also. The other thing that we can do is an ECG. You can see the typical ECG findings. This is known as electrical ultrans. You can see the size of QRS complexes, this size and this size. There is an alternate QRS complex with a longer QRS complex, then a shorter one, then a longer, then shorter one. In every lead you can see longer, shorter, longer, shorter. There is an interesting thing that why this electrical ultrans occurs. It occurs because the heart swings inside the pericardial cavity. With every beat, the heart swings inside the pericardial cavity. You can see this. You can see the swinging of heart, how with every beat heart swings in the pericardial fluid. So this is the reason why the patient develops electrical ultrans, and you can also see the presence of fluid inside the pericardial cavity also. Now, how we treat a patient of cardiac tamponade? There is an emergency management that we should do every time. We should do a needle pericardiocentesis to remove the pressure over the heart. Even the removal of small amount of fluid can give patient a lot of relief with the symptoms. But firstly, what we should do is we should supply the patient oxygen. The patient should be in the complete bed rest with the foot end of the patient elevated. One thing that we should remember is we should not do positive pressure ventilation to the patient, because due to the positive pressure ventilation, the pressure inside the chest cavity increases. That leads to the more pressure. Apart from the pressure that is due to the pericardial fluid, the pressure due to the positive pressure ventilation that we do is also combined uh, to hamper the functioning ability of the heart. So this is all about cardiac tamponade. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.